What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 89. We got Rose Namajunas going against Amanda Ribas in what is probably one of the more interesting DraftKings slates in a very long time. We have a ton of very closely lined fights. I think currently, at time of recording, the biggest favorite on the card is Rose Namajunas at only minus 210. We got Stephen Nguyen, the highest priced fighter on DraftKings, 9,400 on DraftKings, but on the money line, he's only like minus 150, minus 160. So, yeah, it's a weird card. I think a lot of underdogs are going to come through. I think we're going to have, the winning lineup probably has a bunch of salary left over. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting one to talk about. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a couple favors, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want extra content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find my fighter stats, projections, ownership projections, targets, rankings, prize picks content, articles, and much more on there, dfsbythenumbers.com. And then also check out prize picks, use promo code DFSBTN, and get a 100% deposit match up to $100. And as always, we'll touch on our prize picks play of the week. Last week we hit it. We'll see if we can hit another one this week there. But with all that out of the way, I say we dig in, and we're going to start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. The one up top is going to be a fight that I actually think could potentially go the distance here. It's going to be Carl Williams going against Justin Tafa. It is apparently the co-main event, which I think is pretty interesting. But yeah, we got Carl Williams sitting at 9,300, but he's only like minus 180 on the money line. Then we got Justin Tafa sitting at 6,900. So yeah, I think it's a great fight to target first and foremost. I kind of see this fight playing out in one of two ways. The first way I see it playing out, which I think is the most likely way, is going to be Carl Williams being able to implement his wrestling, getting this fight down to the mat, mixing in multiple takedowns, racking up control time, and probably getting a decision, maybe a late finish. The other way I see this fight playing out is Justin Tafa landing a big shot and knocking out Carl Williams. I think both paths score very well. I know Carl Williams is very expensive at 9,300, but he has the grappling path that should score well in a win. And then as far as Justin Tafa, 6,900 is one of the more intriguing pump plays on the slate. I think he's very live to win this fight. So yeah, great fight to target to kick it off here. Next we got another great fight to target here. We got Julian Erosa going against Ricardo Ramos. We have the fight doesn't go to decision sitting at minus 200, a fight that I do think probably does finish inside the distance just because both of these guys are just not durable. Julian Erosa has 7 losses by knockout, which is a major concern at the featherweight division. I mean, you just don't see featherweights getting knocked out 7 times. That's ridiculous. And then as far as, Ricardo Ramos, he's been finished a lot. He's been finished in 4 out of his 5 losses. So with both these guys having very, very big durability issues, I think somebody probably does get finished here. We got Ricardo Ramos, 8,900, definitely expensive. Julian Erosa, 7,300. Julian Erosa, I think, is a live dog in the majority of his matchups. The one worry is that chin, and it's a big worry. But yeah, I think somebody does get served here. Another great fight to target overall. Next, we have a very fun fight here. We got Fernando Padilla going against Luis Pajelo. I think this is probably one of my favorite fights on the card. I think it's going to be a fight like a car crash. Like Pajelo's going to come forward, no regard to his own safety. He's very, very hittable. He's going to make this an absolute war. I think Padilla probably does get the win here, probably gets a finish even. He's 8,700, but Pajelo's a guy that's going to fight for your money. He's going to do everything in his power to try to get Padilla out of there. So yeah, another good fight to target. I like all 3 of the ones we talked about thus far. And then the main event, even another one, a good one to target. We got Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. The fight doesn't go minus 180. I can very well see this fight going the distance, but if it doesn't go the distance, it probably means that Rose Namajunas knocked out Amanda Ribas. We talked about durability issues in the Erosa fight. Amanda Ribas has some durability issues. She's been hurt multiple times. She's been finished by knockout 3 times, which is just a major concern. Rose is not some murderous power puncher, but hey, if she can land a head kick, maybe she can knock out Amanda Ribas at any point in this fight. I'm more so on the Rose side here, 9,200. There's not a lot of fighters I feel that comfortable about, but she'd probably be one of them. But even then, I'm not overly excited about her. But yeah, 9,200, it's expensive, but I think it could be worth it. 5 rounds to work with. As far as Ribas, not the worst pump play in the world. She as well has 5 rounds to work with, so I don't mind it as well. Getting into the core plays, yeah, we'll stick with Rose here, 9,200. It's one of those cards where I'm not confident in a lot of spots. I guess Rose would be my most confident pick on this card, which is not saying anything at all because I don't have a lot of confident picks. I mean, you can't be confident in a lot of these fights. I think, like, 80 to 90% of these fights are just big coin flips this week. So Rose is the one fighter I do feel pretty decent about, I suppose. She's fought the much better competition. I just think she's the much better overall fighter, and I think she should get this job done. So I like her in cash games, and I like her in tournaments as well. I think she has some decent upside. Billy Quarantillo, 8,600. I actually think he's going to be, a lot lower owned than we typically see Billy Q, just based off the fact that everybody is on Yusuf Zalal, and this money line's closed up a ton. It might even flip by the looks of it. I mean, looks like Billy Q's like minus 115 now. Zalal's approaching like minus 105, so it's about a pick 'em at this point, which I think is very interesting. And I get it, like from a money line standpoint, I think it could be a close fight, but we're talking DraftKings here, and Billy Quarantillo is like one of the best DraftKings scorers. Just the way he fights, the pace, the pressure, the output he dishes out. Like if Billy Quarantillo is able to win this fight, I do lean him to win it. He's going to score a ton just with the way this guy fights. So yeah, we're not talking betting, we're talking DraftKings, and at that point, Billy Quarantillo on DraftKings should never be ignored. As far as Zalal, he doesn't score well on DraftKings at all. Like he's like the complete opposite of Billy. He said low volume. He's no volume. Doesn't really throw much. Doesn't really go for takedowns. So I think in terms of DraftKings, all the upsides on Billy Q in this matchup. Moving on, we got Peyton Talbot going against Cameron Simon. And yeah, I like Talbot on DraftKings at this price tag, 8,300. Somebody that throws a ton of strikes, somebody that can go at a hard 15 minutes, somebody that I think is going to be the better striker overall. And yeah, he's 8,300. Like, I think this fight probably does go the distance, but if there's a late finish, I could see Talbot potentially finishing Simon late. And if this does go 15 minutes, I mean, we can expect a ton of strikes from Talbot. I mean, in his Contender Series fight, I think he landed over like 150. I could see something like that happening here. So yeah, I love the volume of Talbot, and I like the price tag as well at 8,300. Next, we got Ricardo Ramos, 8,900. This is more of a fade on the chin of Julian Erosa. Erosa's been knocked out in back-to-back fights. He's now 34 years old. He's been knocked out 7 times. Ricardo Ramos does have some decent power. I think a Ricardo Ramos knockout win is very much on the table here. Moving on, we got the GPP plays here. Carl Williams, we touched on him a little bit. Just the path to victory scores well here for him. I mean, the Carl Williams, very solid wrestler. I think he'll have no problem getting this fight down to the mat. And I think he'll have no problem getting this fight down to the mat consistently over 15 minutes. Of course, we have to worry about that big power from Justin Tafa. But if he can avoid that big shot, mix in takedowns across 15, I think he scores very well. Next, we got Fernando Padilla, 8,700. I'm on the Padilla side this week. I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be a car crash. I think Padilla's the better fighter, though. This guy's younger. He's going to be bigger. He's going to have a pretty big reach advantage as well. I think he's the better striker, and I think he's the better grappler as well. 10th Planet, BJJ Brown Belt. I think if this gets into the grappling exchanges, he's very alive for a sub. So yeah, 8,700 for a guy that I think is finishing is pretty solid there. Edmund Shabazian, 9,100. I don't love it, but he's somebody you got to talk about because he's extremely front-loaded. Like at 9,100, if he does win this fight, I think there is a chance he finishes it early. I know Dobson's never been finished in his 9 professional fights, but Shabazian's very, very dangerous early on. Shabazian has 12 wins. I think 10 of them come in the first round, so that cannot be ignored. I don't mind Shabazian for that early finish upside. And then Cody Gibson, 8,000. Don't mind some Cody Gibson here. He's taking on Miles Johns, who Johns is coming in here on short notice. Gibson's a guy that is a high-volume striker, decent grappler as well, solid cardio. I think he's going to have the cardio advantage here, and just a very tough guy overall and a tough guy to deal with. He's going to be the bigger guy here also. And just with Miles Johns coming in here on short notice, I could see Cody Gibson potentially breaking Miles Johns and finishing him late. Miles Johns has been finished in both of his losses. So yeah, don't mind Cody Gibson at 8,000 here. I think is a very live dog. Moving on to the Prize Picks play of the week. We're going with Rose Namajunas, significant strikes, 95.5. We're going to take the less here. She's went under or less than 95.5 significant strikes in every single one of her fights, but one. The one where she did go over was against a very high-volume striker in Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But yeah, other than that, she's going less, and she's going less very, very often. So it's one of those fights where I think it's going to be kind of like a tactical fight from Rose. Like, I don't think she's going to have to dish out 100 significant strikes. If she does dish out 100 significant strikes, she probably knocks out Hebos, to be honest. But I could see some grappling exchanges here. I just think 95.5 is way too high. So I'm taking the less there. That is the Prize Picks play of the week. If you want to check it out, promo code DFSBTN and get yourself a deposit bonus. Moving on, we got live dogs. I could put every single underdog on this live dog page. I mean, we have so many live dogs this week. Kurt Hollabaugh being one of them, 7,700. I have no interest in Trey Ogden. I think Trey Ogden's a terrible DraftKings scorer, does a lot of nothing. Whereas Kurt Hollabaugh, he's much more active, much more dangerous. Submission upside. I think he might be able to hurt Trey Ogden as well. He has power. So yeah, don't mind Kurt Hollabaugh. I think he's a very live dog with some very good upside as well on a win. I think if he wins, he probably finishes. Luis Pajelo, 7,500. Live dog with finishing upside. This is a guy in Pajelo who's finished 7 out of his 9 wins. Has a ton of power. He's going to come forward. He's going to fight for your money. Does leave a lot of openings, and I think Padilla probably does catch him with something. But like I said, he's very live to go out there and maybe land something big or break Padilla as the fight goes on. Igor Severino, a.k.a. Igor da Silva. I don't know why they're changing his last name there midweek, but yeah, Da Silva / Severino, 7,200. Another very live dog. This is a guy in Severino with a 100% finish rate, finishing all 8 of his wins. Yeah, I just don't really understand this price tag here. I think both these guys, they're making their debut. I think both these guys are very solid. Both these guys have some solid upside, but Severino is going to be the guy with just much more output. I think all the wrestling upside, 7,200 just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I think is a very live dog. And then Julian Erosa, 7,300, always a live dog, always a live to go out there and get a finish, has an 82% finish rate going against Ramos, who's we've seen crumble before, who we've seen finished before multiple times. So yeah, anytime Julian Erosa fights, he cannot be ignored. I think is another live dog this week. Moving on to the pump plays, Justin Taffa, we touched on him a little bit. The path is there, and the path is getting a knockout. Justin Taffa has a 100% finish rate. All of those wins coming by knockout. Carl Williams has never been knocked out, but if Justin Taffa touches his chin, he could go down. I think Taffa is a very solid pump play at 6,900. And then AJ Dobson, 7,100, more due to the fact here that, I'm not the highest on AJ Dobson, but it's just Shabazin, we've seen him broken and we've seen him crumble just so many times that if this fight does get extended and Dobson's able to maybe break him, like Dobson can very well go out there and get a late finish, I think. So I'm not the biggest fan of Dobson, but we've seen Shabazian drop the ball time and time again, that he at least needs to be mentioned. And then the fade's going to be Stephen Wynn. 9,400. He's only minus 150, minus 160 on the money line. A lot of people are picking him to lose this fight. I'm picking him to win, but I think he has no grappling upside. I don't think he has much finishing upside. I think he has good volume upside, but even then, I don't think he's going to go out there and land well over 100 significant strikes against Jarno Aarons, who just does nothing at all. I think it could be kind of a boring fight. I'm not paying up 9,400 for Stephen Wynn this week. And there you guys have it. Very interesting slate this week. Very weird slate, a tough slate to be honest, but should be fun overall. Looking forward to it. If you guys could do me a favor, like on your way out, subscribe as well. Check out DFS by the numbers. All my content is up and ready to go. Got the Prize Picks article out, the Draftkings article out, ownership projections, all the stats, just everything's out and ready to go for this week. Looking forward to this week. Looking forward to next week, Atlantic City. We got UFC 300 coming up in the near future as well. So be on the lookout for all the content as always. And best of luck for UFC Vegas 89. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.